Periel Duff coming at you live from the Hustle's Point of New York City with our co-host, Jeanette Davis. Say hello. And distinguished guest, Bossalena. Say hello, Bossalena.
Hello, how's it going?
And we want to discuss Bossalena's music career, how she got started, her humble beginnings, and anything in the way of adversity that she may have faced on the way to the road to her success that she had to overcome, the trials and tribulations that she had to overcome. We all like to share them today in an effort to help, the community or the audience know what it is that they themselves can do to overcome challenges and situations they're going. We're going to start off with you, Bossalena. So please go ahead. Tell us how it was where you were born, where you grew up, and then how you ended up going into your career that you now currently are in.
Okay. My name is Bossalena. I'm a female rap artist. Come from Compton, California. That's where it all started for me. Both my parents, my dad's a DJ, and so I've kind of always was basically born into music. My mom, my family, my whole family does music. So I have a lot of family members that sing, rap, play instruments. My dad's a DJ. So growing up, it was a lot of different. It was. Put it like this: my parents are high school sweethearts. So they left Texas when they graduated and moved to California. So when they moved to California, that's where they had me. So they had me in California, but my whole family was from Texas. So once they had me in California, we would travel to Texas. So I've always traveled to Texas since I was born, because my whole family's here. We get sent to my grandma's during the summertime. My parents always felt that we needed to be connected to our family, so we always got sent out here every summer. So that was something that was different, and I didn't really understand growing up, you know what I mean? Because I'm coming from Compton, but I always loved to come to Texas to visit in the summertime, because growing up in Compton it was a lot of violence, a lot of shooting, a lot of negativity, to where I was happy to go to Texas for the summertime. You know what I mean? Like, that was like the best thing, because as a kid, you come back and you got like all these gifts and all your clothes to go to school for the summer, from the summer. And, so it's like, it was always exciting to really like come to Texas as a kid, like every summer. The reason why we came every summer, I have one other sibling, which is I have an older brother. So basically all my cousins, they would send all the kids, all my cousins, everybody to my grandma's house, because my grandparents own a produce company and they're farmers. So they wanted to teach us about farming, business, just crops as a kid. So we grew up in a farm, you know what I mean? Doing farming stuff as kids, what we could do, cleaning tomatoes, selling watermelon, doing all that type of stuff. Then I would go back home to California and end up seeing stuff that I thought was normal. So to me, I didn't really think it was a bad thing. You know what I mean? I just thought that was just like how it is. Growing up, you never knew other things that other people don't have to go through. So as a kid, you think everybody goes through it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, drive-bys, everybody goes through this. You hear sirens every night. Everybody goes through that. You know what I mean? So by the time I got out of middle school, I moved to another side of Compton. So once we moved to the other side of Compton, it was really quiet. It was really, bigger houses. We had a swimming pool in our backyard. Like, it had a little bit of money, So people always say, once you cross the train track, it's a little different over there, I didn't really understand that, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, we'll move over there, and it's different. I don't hear police sirens. I don't hear helicopters. I don't hear gunshots. I don't hear none of that. And I'm like, oh, that's when I realized everybody doesn't go through this. And that's where it really affected me a lot, because right when I moved to the other side of Compton, I used to have my little neighbors that lived probably a couple houses down. And, we would play all the time. It's a couple girls. We would play all the time. And one of them was really young. And when I moved to the other side of Compton, a couple weeks later, I turned on the news, and my friend was on the news because she got shot at school. And so some little boy brought a little gun to school, and I guess he had it in his lap, it went off and it shot her in the stomach.
Wow.
And she was younger than us, so she was like in elementary, and she lost some organs and some stuff. And I was never able to get in touch with her again. That was the last time I ever seen her again. Let me look at things growing up. You know what I mean? Just being from where I'm from. So then after that, my parents decided that they didn't want me to get education in Compton. So after like almost getting into high school, I would say in the middle of middle school, I ended up transferring to another city, which is called San Pedro, which has a lot of the majority. It was a white city, you know what I mean? And my parents worked over there. They would bus me from Compton to San Pedro to get a better education. But I can't say. Let me tell you a story I had when I was at one of the schools in Compton. I used to go to school every day, and this girl used to come every day, and she used to sock me in the stomach. So like after the third or fourth time, I used to always trip. You know what I mean? Like, why you do that? She was like, always say like, just always testing your reflexes type stuff. You know what I mean? So some days she would come and I'll make my stomach hard, and she would know, you know, and she'd be like, "Oh, I see you was with it, you know, you was ready." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was ready." And it's funny because she was a musician. She was probably the first musician that I met. Didn't even really, I mean, I knew about music, but I didn't really know about music. And I knew about it because at that point I was probably like fifth grade, sixth grade. And I asked my parents for a keyboard, for a piano for Christmas. So happens this girl had the exact same one I had. And we ended up being like really good friends.
You can't stop my wave. You can't stop my wave. You can't stop my wave now. You can't stop my wave now. You can't stop me, why try? Yes, I'm smoking while on them haters flow by. Boss, I do this for life. You can't stop my wave. You can't stop my wave. You can't stop my wave now. You can't stop my wave now. You can't stop me, why try? Yes, I'm smoking while on them haters flow by. Boss, I do this for life. Drippin' so on, can't hate on the boss. My grind so sauce, can't ride my wave. I know a lot of haters from around the way. I know a lot of haters gon' hate every day. I get to the money, I spend it on the game. I'm working 9 to 5, I put it in the bank. I got my own merch, got my own stew, got my own gang, I got my own thing. Stay focused on the prize, don't stand around me. Don't fuck up my vibe, don't lean on me.
This is Perio Dove coming at you live from the Hustler's Corner, New York City, saying thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and check out our show. If you are a person that's incarcerated and you've written books and you want to get your story out about what happened and how you ended up in the situation that you're in, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City Tales from the Bid series, and we'll give you and your books a shout out. If you are a person who has been wrongfully convicted of a crime that you did not commit and you spent years behind bars as a result, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City Victims of the System series, and we'll give you and the organizations that you're involved with a shout out. If you are a person that's active in the community and you're involved in nonprofits and other organizations that help address the issues within the community like teenage pregnancy, gun violence, gangs, drugs, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner New York City Legends of the Hood series, and we'll give you and the organizations that you're involved with a shout out. If you are a person who is a Black business owner and you want to share your story about how you rose from obscurity and adversity to found and successfully run your own Black-owned business, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner New York City Black Business Movement series, and we'll give you and your company and your business a shout out. If you are a rap artist, a hip hop artist, a vocalist, a musician looking to share their story about how they have rose from obscurity in the male-dominated music industry to become a successful recording artist, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner New York City On the Grind series, and we'll give you and your music a shout out. And ladies, this one is for you. If you are a woman that has suffered from traumatic abuse, whether it be physical, mental, or even sexual, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner New York City Lipstick Stories series, and we'll give you and the organizations that you're involved with a shout out. And as always, we just like to say,
Please take the time to leave comments. Tell us what you think about our show. What is it you would like to see us change? What is it you would like to see us improve upon? What is it you would like to see us discontinue? And also, hit that like button. Help us keep growing. Share our content. And most of all, we can't emphasize this enough. Subscribe for new updates because new content is going up every week. And with that said, I just want to say this is Perry L. Duff coming at you from the Hustler's Corner, New York City, saying thank you so much for joining us. Back to the show.
Ever since then, I think that really kind of took me to a different level as far as music goes, because her whole family was into music. But what was so crazy about it is she was a Jehovah's Witness. Like, her whole family was a Jehovah's Witness. So I couldn't really, connect with them on the music, because she couldn't really have, friends and stuff. You know what I mean? But I did learn a lot in that little amount of time, even though it was kind of like a weird situation, you know what I mean? Like how I met her, you know what I mean? And sometimes I used to run into her through the city, you know what I mean? And, she really was, and she was probably one of my only friends at the school. She would come and find me every day, even though it sounded kind of weird, but she didn't do it to where she was mean. She didn't do it I felt threatened, you know what I mean? She was just doing it hey, you should be this because it'll give you better reflexes. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? So we would try that, and it was kind of interesting. But I actually, at that same school, another person tried to bully me. And yeah, we ended up getting a fight. So that's when the first time I got suspended. First time I got suspended. And once all that happened, my parents was like, oh yeah, we have to get you out of these schools. So yeah, I ended up transferring to another type of school, and got into sports and started growing up and getting into high school, and things, you know what I mean, things went to a whole nother level. But you learn a lot as a kid growing up, and you get through so much that you never even really understand what you're in until you get older, you know what I mean, and actually put it into perspective, you know what I mean.
Let me say this. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the most traumatic things that our youth go through is bullying. Hearing stories like that, it reminds me of times when I've been bullied when I was younger. But these guys, the crazy thing about me, that these guys, when I was younger, they would give me a shot. Ow.
Right. But let me ask you, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Okay, but let me ask you, because what happened to you, what's your music today describe for your young listeners? What's your music? Just describe more about your music. I like your music. I check it out. I love your video. It's very nice.
Thank you.
So, in your own words, what's your music describe? Describe your music and the message that you're sending out now to the young people today.
My music is diversity. I pretty much do music about whatever I'm feeling at that time. You know what I mean? Or what I'm going through at that moment. It could be from, I like to touch more personal subjects, more deep subjects. I'm not just here to be rapping just to be rapping, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, for example, I have my single out called Can't Stop My Wave. And basically, it's just letting people understand my independent grind and how I do my things, where you have to be consistent in this game. You know what I mean? You have to be consistent in this game. You have to go through so much little different adversity and so much different type of things where people try to stop you. So I'm like, okay, well, you can't stop my wave, because no matter what happens, I'm always going to stop. I'm always going to do this music. I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be in your face. I'm always going to be, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of more when I do music, it's more of a feeling that I'm going through at that time. You know what I mean? I have a song called Bossalena that describes me coming up in Compton as a kid. I have a song called Oh Yeah Yeah, and that's talking about blessed to wake up that day. You know what I mean? I'm blessed, so everything around me, I'm feeling oh yeah, yeah, so, I'm more of a realist type of artist. I'm not a punchline type artist. I'm more of a realist, which means it's more just whatever I feel that day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into violence. I'm not into stuff like that. So I'm always trying to motivate, encourage, empower women, try to help people in their adversities, or how they can overcome some of their adversities. For example, this hat right here says Flow to Culture. Flow to Culture is my sponsored brand, which means no obstacles, no boundaries. You can float over any adversity in life. That's the meaning of this. That's what I go by every day. That's what I feel that I try to display in my music as much as I can,
Let me ask you.
I do like to party, so I do like to do a lot of party joints and stuff that just get people moving as well. So not just always touching, different deeper subjects, but I always, I do it all. That's why I say I'm just versatile.
Okay, what can you say for the females rappers today? What you could tell them?
Be a businesswoman. Learn your craft as well too. Same thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Because that's what it's about. Learning your craft, mastering your craft. Because being a female in a male dominated industry is even harder. They look at us harder. So you have to be more on your business, more on your grind, more on so in a way, to me, it helps us as better businesswomen because they're harder on us. So now we know how to think, how to create a business, and how to make sure we, get it going, or whatever avenues they go through. Not every female want to run their own business. They might want to work with other artists and other labels and other people, but as long as they know that their grind and what their mission and what their path is, then as long as you're dedicated and stay consistent. Is my main thing. Stay consistent with your grind, and that can go for every female, no matter what age group. You know what I mean?
Okay. Have you ever opened a show with a famous rap artist or any other artist?
Yes, I've did a lot of. I opened up for many of artists, from people like. Well, I've had some female artists that I've opened. I haven't opened up for too many female artists, because it's kind of hard to kind of get them, unless like local female artists. Yes, but a big female artist, it's not really that many for me to open up for. But I've did a show where the rapper Yo-Yo, they used to rap with Ice Cube. She was there, and that was encouraging because, she was like, oh, I'm glad to see more females rappers on the stage, and more female artists, chasing their dreams and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've opened up for people like Crooked Eye, King T. I mean, coming from Cali, I opened up for a lot of people in California. You know what I mean? Not in too many other places. Texas a little bit. So I did people like Little Flip. I did Crooked Eye, Nocturnal, Easy E's, Easy E's sons, Dr. Dre's son. So many. I've actually have a pretty good little list of.
Okay.
They could check that out on my bio.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Your business acumen, so to speak, if I may, would you say that came from the time that you was with your family learning about farming? Did you get your business from there?
Yes.
The thing that I have to admit that really, really impresses me about you is that you are demonstrating that you are an artist, a female artist, that can go the traditional route of the male artist and succeed. That's the thing that I like about it. Now, you say that there's no gun violence or hardcore rap in your lyrics at all?
No, I don't gang bang. I'm not, even though I've been growing up in Compton my life, I wasn't really into that type of stuff, because I felt that like I could get out a different way, not knowing that, I guess as a kid, you don't know what you're in, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get out the hood and I'm not gonna do no gang banging and, stuff like that. So as I got older, I felt like I wanted to represent as one of those artists that came from Compton, never gangbang, never did none of that. You don't have to be none of that just to be respected.
This is Perry Delph coming at you live from the Hustler's Corner, New York City. This concludes this session with our On the Grind series. If you are a person who has been incarcerated and you want to get your story out, come to the Hustler's Corner, New York City and share your story on our Tales from the Bid series. If you are a person that has been wrongfully convicted of a crime that they did not commit, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City Victims of the System series. If you are a person who is active in the community, helping to address many of the ills within the Black community, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City Legends of the Hood series. If you are a person that runs their own successful Black-owned business and you'd like to share your story about how you rose from obscurity and adversity to build and run your own successful Black-owned business, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner New York City Black Business Movement series. If you're a musician, artist, hip-hop or rap artist, vocalist, Come share your story on the Hustler's Corner in New York City on the Grind series. And we'll give all of you and your books, your organizations that you're involved with, your businesses, a shout out. And ladies, this one's for you. If you are a woman, especially an African American woman, that has been traumatized by experiences in her life that were physically, mentally, emotionally, or sexually abusive, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner in New York City, and we'll give you and your organization a shout out. Share your story on our new Lipstick Stories series, and we'll give you and your organization a shout out. And finally, I'd just like to say you can reach us at the Hustler's Corner New York City Facebook group, the Hustler's Corner New York City Facebook page. You can also reach us at www.thehustlerscornernewyorkcity.com. And finally, you can reach us at 347-422-7971. That's 347-422-7971. Thank you once again for joining us. Looking forward to you being with us next time. Peace and chill out.